It's Fightful's The Hump with
Jimmy Van
and
Sean Ross Sapp.
Fightful.com. Yeah.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. Welcome to Fightful. It is January 17th, 2024. A little programming note. Next week, we will be bringing you the hump on Monday, maybe the first Monday hump we have ever done. So we are back here in like 5 days before Raw. Not a lot can even happen between now and then, but by God, we're going to be here for the Monday hump because I'm going to be flying to Tampa on Wednesday. I've got a plan in order. Jimmy Van is here, by the way. Jimmy Van, how you doing?
doing good, Sean Ross. If we don't have a lot of content next Monday, we're just gonna like on the fly recap Netflix shows that we watched.
Or we'll do super chats and humper chats because they always keep me going for an hour straight. A reminder, guys, that's how you get your question or statement read on the air. We are largely driven by super chats and humper chats. We've got a whole lot of new content coming here on youtube.com/Fightful, putting the finishing touches on a very long form CM Punk video. This week, I did a sit down video because one of our subscribers said, what are like 5 or 6 things you would change about the Royal Rumble, considering you like it so much? That video will be coming out. It's already up for Fightful Select Tier 2 members, but you're going to get all kinds of new content here on youtube.com/Fightful throughout the year. I'm going to be doing more of these sit-down videos, but get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. We got lots of interviews coming your way too. Indie wrestlers, WWE wrestlers. Joel Pearl was just at TNA Hard to Kill. Interviewed Steve Macklin and Speedball at length. Those are going to be very, very good. And then next week, Jimmy, I'm back on the road. It's been a while. I did North Carolina, but other than North Carolina and wrestling a match, I have not traveled since August.
Has it been that long? Seriously?
It's all in. Yeah.
Doesn't feel it. It doesn't feel it. Well, I love the Rumble. The Rumble might be my favorite show of the year. I might even like it more than Mania.
I like it so much that the day of the Royal Rumble, I am flying out after a junket back home and landing in Cincinnati, driving as fast as I can home to get back at my desk by 8 p.m. That way I can do the post show. I'll have precautions in order, but the way that I told my wife is if I get one flight delay, I am leaving the airport and driving straight to the venue and just going and taking in the show, and I'll do that type of stuff. But we'll have a backup in order, obviously. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it. I'll be there doing media. I leave Wednesday, come back Saturday, and then I want to watch the Royal Rumble at home, do the post show, hang out with our audience, all that good stuff. Because I haven't done that in a couple of years now. It's been a while. Did
you hear that Gargano and Ciampa had a hell of a travel day? Did you hear about that?
I saw that. And
you know what? And then they both won. They all won on Raw.
That's what Cleveland Browns fans deserve, though. They deserve that type of karma and treatment. And I'm happy. I'm happy that they were inconvenienced. And I don't mean that at all because they're all very nice people. But leave a thumbs up on this video, guys. I'm so excited to roll out some of these videos. Jimmy has seen some of the things that we're working on a little bit. Like it's so funny because Maven's YouTube has taken off really, really well. I had done videos like that years ago, but I didn't have the time to edit them myself. And then a funny story, Jimmy and I had the opportunity to do business with Chael Sonnen years ago. And looking back,
you remember that? Yeah.
Looking back, we probably should have. No. I think it would have worked.
He wanted a lot. Well. He wanted a lot.
Relatively speaking, compared to what I know we spent on other stuff, I don't think it was that much. But I see those style of videos, and I want to start doing those style of videos. And I know that they won't necessarily bring in the dollars as super chats and stuff, but I see a lot of long form content. I want to be able to do some of that as well. So we're going to be integrating some of our other personalities into stuff like that as well, and really expanding the horizons of Fightful. So in addition to all the news and the podcasts and the news shows as well, we're going to be doing a lot of more cool stuff here at youtube.com/Fightful. Rob has been doing a great job. One of our 3 Robs on Fightful of doing the video editing.
Yeah. Payday's a real treat for me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. There have been times where I'm almost like, okay, I like Rob Wilkins, but shit, that's the wrong amount.
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes. They're all wonderful, but I'm just so excited, man. Royal Rumble season.
Yeah,
I
love
gotta
it too.
admit, I'm not that excited about traveling because I like being here. I like being home, but then I get there. I get to these places and I meet so many people that support us and watch our stuff. Like even the first time we did, I think me and you were both very surprised in Vegas 2019, how many Fightful viewers that we met like as soon as we walked in.
Fuck, everybody knew you. Everybody
It
knew you, and that was 2017.
2019.
Was it 2019? Really?
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
remember in 2017 where we sat down at a Toronto restaurant and the person immediately recognized my accent down to a 45-minute drive?
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
That is unreal, to the point to where Jimmy thought that I set it up.
He
thought-
practically said Sean's hometown. Like he practically nailed it.
I mean, it is my hometown now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the place that he named, he said Lexington. He said, "Are you from Kentucky?" About Lexington. And I said, I was like, how do you know that? First off, he goes, I'd recognize that accent anywhere. Now, I had worked very, very hard to make my accent less. If you watch videos from 2017, you can see me enunciate a little bit better because I had like worked really hard to try to drop the accent because I was under the impression that I shouldn't have one to succeed. Now I don't give a shit. Too late, guys. You're stuck with it. But that guy nailed it. And he was like, oh, yeah, I spent time in Richmond, which is, 20, 30 minutes from here. Insane.
Tell me about the Fightful Award winners because they've been determined.
They have been determined. I'm not going to tell you who they are, though.
No, but like, what's the plan? What's the plan with the whole thing?
So we were going to do the show February 5th. However, WWE announced NXT Vengeance Day. We will now be doing this award show Wednesday, January 31st. So it'll be a busy day for me. I'll be doing, likely be doing the award show, AEW, and the Hump. There's a chance that I have somebody fill in for the AEW show that night, but at 6 p.m. Eastern, it'll go a couple hours. We've got a lot of great sponsors. If you want to sponsor the Fightful Awards, it's only $100. You get an ad read. You get a reply on when we announce the awards on Twitter. You're going to get your company and read and handle replied there, and it'll be in the descriptions across all of our platforms. So hit me, Kate, or the Fightful Select Patreon up for information on that. But yeah, we have condensed a lot of awards. For example, last year we had like best vlog, best video game, best etc. That's now like best talent media. Instead of women's, men's, under 21, and indie tag team of the year, it's now indie act of the year. We wanted something all encompassing last year, but then we wanted to narrow it down a little bit this year. We still have a bunch of great awards. We've already got several acceptance speeches that for the people that have been notified of such. And my favorite thing about these awards, Jimmy, is it is not a straight ticket. It is almost right down the middle, AEW, WWE. And then New Japan won several big awards.
Really?
New Japan won awards, NXT, ROH. Like there are a lot of really, really cool winners here. Some surprising winners, but I was very proud of these last year because I've mentioned this on the air before. The only reassurance I really needed was the picture that I'm about to pull up here. This was enough for me to be like, it was worth it. The whole thing was worth it because that picture, for those of you who don't know, was taken the week of Mark Briscoe doing the tribute match to Jay Briscoe.
Right.
Literally hours before that, he was there. He did that, and he sent word back to me that Jay's award would be sent to his widow and put up for them, which that justified it for me. I was like, okay, I'm glad we did this because what I wanted to do was to show the talent that we cover. Sometimes we got to cover bad stuff. Sometimes we cover good stuff, but we appreciate the work that they put in, and our audience appreciates the work that they put into. That's why I'm very adamant that we use very expensive awards, in which Jimmy can attest to.
I think I chose it, didn't I?
I think you did choose it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And of course, Will pushed for the award show to happen, and then he hit the bricks.
It's all
Then he
right.
hit the bricks.
That's all right. Whoever's going to do it this year, maybe they're going to be doing this while they do it. I guess
It's
we'll
Denise,
see.
so there's a chance she gets signed by somebody.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Well, I haven't seen the winner list, but I can assume that one of them is probably old Cardona, and so that leads me to this next thing. I've never seen Blackbird, and I didn't know who Paul Walter Hauser was, except I knew he was the guy on Cobra Kai that was singing Jericho's music.
Great. He's so good.
Have you seen Blackbird?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff he's done.
Okay, I haven't.
The Richard Jewell movie, like he's fantastic, man.
Well, how cool was it to see him drop the name Matt Cardona in an Emmy Award acceptance speech? And I'm not an award show guy, and so I didn't see it live. I saw the clip later on Twitter. How cool is that? I can't think of the last time that a wrestler, with the possible exception of The Rock, would get mentioned by somebody in like a mainstream award show. And I bet you Cardona lost his shit.
He's quickly becoming like a very sought out actor too. Like, I mean, I've seen him in a ton of stuff like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Cobra Kai, Super Troopers 2, Jewel. He was in Black Klansman. He was in Cruella. Like, he's been in so many like big movies. He's a phenomenal actor. Have you seen Blackbird?
No, I have not. You
got to watch Blackbird.
Is it good?
That movie or that show is so good.
Liotta was in that, yeah.
Oh, what is it now?
Ray Liotta was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. It was so good. It was so good. Friend of the show too, Paul Walter Hauser. He put over my drop toe hold, Jimmy.
Did he?
On Instagram, yeah.
Is he trained?
I think he's done. I think he did some training because he did a match recently as well.
He did. Okay. Yeah. So I was going to mention, for people that might be wondering why the hell did he mention Matt Cardona at the Emmys, is because he's actually scheduled to wrestle Matt Cardona March 16 for Wrestling Revolver. The show's called Ready or Not. It's going to be in Clive, Iowa, and it's going to air on Fight TV. And so that was going to be my question for you. Like, has this guy done any training? Because I know Cardona's a pro. He can get in there with anybody, but I was curious if he's trained at all. So that's interesting.
I'm not sure. I'll reach out to him. I'm sure it's a busy week right now.
I'm sure it is.
You know, I'd like to interview him ahead of that. I wonder if I can set that up.
I'm sure you can.
That would be interesting.
He mentioned Kota Ibushi.
I know he did. It's pretty cool.
Unbelievable.
Right? Yeah. He's really a phenomenal actor. Another Emmys thing. My all-time favorite, Christina Applegate on stage.
Yes.
That made me really, really happy. Like,
yes.
I think that she is one of the more underrated comedic actresses ever. Like, she's still got great comedic timing.
Yes, she does.
Because when she was up there, she said, "You guys are shaming my disability by giving me a standing ovation."
Yep. Yeah.
And I loved that. She's wonderful.
She's handling that with grace.
Yeah.
And she still looks good too. She's
wonderful. Dead to Me is another must-watch series. If anybody's not watched it, Dead to Me is incredible.
That I saw. I didn't care for the finale though. Didn't you find the finale a little disappointing?
No, not really. I'll tell you what, that first season was, I thought, a masterpiece in writing. Without spoiling anything, they develop the personality of a character and make you like, dislike, hate, or whatever emotion you're going to feel without ever seeing them. You don't see the character, and they make you feel a ton of emotions, and that is a masterpiece of writing. Very, very, just adored that show. Let's get to some of these super chats. We got plenty. If Rollins is mega hurt, how do Mania plans change? And then we got Emir saying, any update on Rollins' injury? I think that's about it for the Rollins thing. So Rollins tweaked his knee at least the other day on Raw. And there's a lot of questions about his knee. And I'll say the same thing that I said when Logan Paul was acting like he tore his ACL, MCL, LCL, PCL, meniscus on the way back from Crown Jewel. Well, you don't know that night. I mean, a guy like Seth Rollins can certainly have an educated opinion on it because he's done all that before. He's experienced it all. But we're going to find out more probably today. I think it was when they were going to find out more. At the risk of, I can tell you that at least initially that night, they were hopeful it wasn't an ACL.
Sure.
That's what they were initially like optimistic about. However, there's a real possibility that guy is just so tough that, he didn't realize it. I mean, I've got a friend, she tore her ACL 4 times, tore her meniscus. She played through some games, not realizing that she had
Really?
an ACL injury as bad as she did. Yeah.
So I heard that he was putting weight on it later on in the night. And I
Mhm.
think it was Abu that said he's fine. Like, I think Abu said Seth is fine. But
That information is not out yet.
okay. I mean, I really hope, because I mean, he's the top guy on Raw. He's got the title, and I'm sure the plan is Rollins Punk at Mania. So I really hope he's going to be all right, because that's a marquee matchup, and
Yeah.
would really suck if he can't go. So okay.
But yeah, that information is not available as of yet. I was pretty directly told it'd be available Wednesday,
Okay.
or they would know more Wednesday. Any news on where Hammerstone will land? Well, he made a great impression at TNA this past week, and if I'm TNA, it's one of those things where, okay, you want to do business with him, you want footage of him in your library, but also that's a free commercial for that guy to be like, hey, everybody, look what I can do. And he did it. He had an incredible appearance. I think TNA is a good place for him, though.
Did you see his brother?
Hammerstone?
Yep.
What do you
So
mean?
there's a clip that you can see on Twitter when Hammerstone was hitting one of his big moves, one of his signature moves.
Yeah.
His brother was in the stands and stood up and was emulating it because he was so excited.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
really
that.
cool. It was a cool moment.
I love that. Hammerstone's a great guy, too, an anchor of MLW for a long time. If Thekla received offers from AEW or WWE yet, not that I know of, but that doesn't mean that she hasn't, because I just haven't been told of that. Josh says, hey, now you didn't even make it to the playoffs. The Bengals made it to a winning season with a backup quarterback. I'm completely fine with that. I know the Browns did as well, but I'm happy with how the Bengals did. Is AEW and AAA's partnership over? Love Fightful, and I believe somebody also asked if it would affect things. Well, I mean, I think that Impact and AAA already had their relationship in order. It was just under the Impact name. It was a very confusing announcement, but one that they made nonetheless. But, having Vikingo out there, obviously good for TNA Impact. And we're back to the point to where a lot of companies are wanting to work with TNA. And that's very, very good, because for a long time, nobody really wanted anything to do with them, Jimmy.
I mean, if you're AAA, why wouldn't you want that US exposure? I understand AEW is a lot bigger and they've got TNT and all that, but why not? Why not get that exposure if you're AAA? Like, why pick one over the other? Especially when you know that AEW and Impact, or AEW and TNA, there's a cordial relationship there too. So sure, why not do? But it doesn't mean that one is severed because they're working with the other.
Stayed home due to a snowstorm. I get to watch the Hump live. Thanks for the great content. Well, thanks for being here.
I want to say good luck to everybody in the Buffalo, New York area. They're getting just slaughtered right now.
Yeah.
So
It's frigid here, man. Like, it is so freaking cold. Kurto says, hello, greetings from Sweden. I get the feeling that Edge will compete against Ali on one of the Collision shows. Ali wins, gets the TNT title later with a kill switch face turn. Also think that Cage versus Dustin may surprise many how good it is. Oh, I think that Christian Cage and Dustin Rhodes is going to be fantastic.
I'm sure.
I think that what Mustafa Ali and Dolph Ziggler are doing is very good, because a lot of people expected them, bam, AEW. I think what they're doing is very good. It's very healthy. Mustafa Ali reposted a Fightful Select report that actually emerged from Kate, who does the SmackDown and NXT post shows, that indie promoters, and I followed up with several of them, and they agreed. Mustafa Ali is said to be one of the biggest indie ticket movers since Cody Rhodes.
Good for him. Good for him.
All his shows are selling out, Jimmy. Like,
so he's got the rights to the name, obviously, right?
Yeah, he had that. He used that before.
Okay. Good for him. So it sounds to me like they're following the Cardona blueprint, or it wasn't just Cardona. Drew McIntyre did it.
Cody did it.
Yeah,
Cody did it. Lots of people did it. As Glassdoor Gamer says, updates on him doing that. I mean, this guy, first off, how many people do you see online at any given time? They're not needle movers. They don't put butts in the seats. People who don't know a goddamn thing about that, don't know what any of that is. People said that about Cody when he was in AEW, Jimmy. People had the balls to say that about him because of his booking. These guys are proving that people will be interested in them, and they carry that importance with them. And I think you wait until the right time to go to a place like AEW where they can't deny you. They can't stick you in the lower card. They can't do any of that. Create your buzz. And these are two very, very smart guys. And like Dolph Ziggler, it's hard for me to believe he needs the money. This guy's
he's got a passion for it.
He's been on the main roster for like 20 years at this point. Since Kerwin White, Jimmy. Kerwin White.
That's going back.
He was the caddy for Kerwin White.
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, I always listen to what Cardona has to say when it comes to business, because he's right there in the trenches. And he always talks about, he brings like 2 extra suitcases of merch. Yeah. And he comes home with all of it gone. You know what I mean? And says that he's made more as an independent wrestler the last 2 years than he did WWE. So obviously there's a lot of money to be made. And it sounds like that. I saw Ziggler or Nick Nemeth. I saw him say he's going to be hitting the road with the independents and he's looking forward to it. So obviously that's what he's doing. I didn't know what Ali's plan was. Honestly, I didn't know if his plan was to try to get to AEW or if he wants to do a full-time independence or what. But Nick Nemeth, he's made it clear that's what he wants to do.
I just got an acceptance speech.
Oh, did you?
One I'm very happy about. I'm very, very happy about.
You show me later.
Yeah, from the AEW side. How do you think Deonna Purrazzo is doing so far in AEW? Well, I mean, her signing got us some subscriptions. Cool. Happy about that. FightfulSelect.com, $5 a month. Best $54 of the year, or that you can spend a year. Her appearance got buzz. Her first match, she had a great match. Unfortunately, that body shaming shit happened on Instagram.
Stupid, I saw that.
But the overwhelming positivity surrounding that, I think, has been good. And I can tell you guys, I've known Deonna for like probably 7-8 years now. I think I've known. My gosh, she was on TV in her 8th match ever. It's so funny. I saw somebody say, oh, she won't have the chance to be a TNA knockout. Bro, she already was. Like in her 8th match ever, she wrestled for TNA. She has worked for NXT, WWE, ROH, Triple H, or AAA. She worked for Triple H too. Stardom. She wrestled for a New Japan title. There is a reason why everybody that can possibly do business with Deonna Purrazzo does do business with her. Like NWA as well. Like she has appeared everywhere. I think that she is going to be a slam dunk signing. And also probably doesn't hurt that she's got a guy like Steve Macklin in her corner as well. Those are 2 really brilliant wrestling minds. Like I could talk to Steve Macklin about wrestling and the psychology of it for a long time. He is underrated as far as like wrestling brains go. He's a brilliant dude.
It sounds like they're throwing her in the deep end already because she's going to be working a match on Dynamite and Tony's doing commentary.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're already doing that. And I got to say, when she made her debut, I love the emotion on her face. She had a hard time for a second, and I think her dad was there. And so that was all great. Wish her nothing but the best.
Well, the emotion on your face is going to be great when you see all the money you can save with NordVPN. I've often talked about how much of a pay-per-view buyer I am. Take that any way you want it, but I'll tell you how I take it. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Fastest VPN on the planet, global server network, all that good stuff. That's great. But a big reason why I got NordVPN.com/Fightful is all the pay-per-views I buy, all the money we're spending. We're trying to control costs as a company, as a household. You can get those UFC pay-per-views at a fraction of the price you're paying here in America. Plus, you can get all kinds of great content that you wouldn't normally see thanks to those services as well. Shows that are on overseas services, things that you want to watch a little bit early so you get on that UK time and watch them. Being able to change the interfaces of things like the WWE Network. Maybe you don't like Peacock, anything like that. NordVPN.com/Fightful gives you that ability while having the fastest VPN on the planet. Also, you just get so much more out of your internet experience with NordVPN.com/Fightful. Subscribe to Fight and AEW Plus. Watch AEW without commercials. Watch bare knuckle boxing. Watch UFC pay-per-views, boxing pay-per-views at the rates they're getting over in the UK. Change your virtual location with just one click. And hey, if you need any help using it, they got that 24/7 tech support. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Jay Miller says, update on Gunther's visa so he can work overseas. That they're actively working on it. I mean, Chelsea Green just revealed that she just got her green card. Woman is married, is just from Canada, has worked in America for a decade, just got her green card.
Yeah.
Did. Two Marks Pod says, just got in. Roman should keep the title till Mania 41. Long term, it'll be bigger for Cody. News on Austin got cold.
That was awesome.
That was so.
The cold plunge was amazing.
Cold plunge was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Roman thing, because I could not disagree with what is right here anymore.
So
let's go ahead and hear what you want here.
Okay, yeah. So this is Roman Reigns' title reign as world champion, and there are some people online who want him to beat Hulk Hogan's record. I think a lot.
Well, I want to just say that there ain't no record.
No, there's no record.
Hogan doesn't hold a record. Bruno holds the record. Why are we saying Hogan's record?
Okay, you're right. What they mean is number 2 on the list.
Of what?
Of the longest reigning title reigns.
Okay, that ain't him. Bob Backlund
is number 2.
I'm pretty sure, right?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
And anyway, it ain't that title.
I know that.
What are we doing here? This is what drives me nuts. People said that for a long time. Oh, well, they were trying to beat CM Punk's record. Do you remember that one? What record? What record? They invented this.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is where people are getting this from. They're getting it from WWE television because Michael Cole does that all the time.
Michael Cole does Hogan's record.
Yes, they do.
They don't say Hogan's record.
They list the amount of days that he had the title, and then they compare it to Roman.
Sure, but I mean, like we're looking at this right now. The record. Okay, yeah. Hogan did pass Backlund.
Okay.
What? So what? You're gonna just go ahead and do 4,000? What is being number 2 do? Like, I don't give a. If he does, whatever. If he doesn't, whatever.
Yeah, because you know what? Cole's been mentioning this for months. Like every time, he just surpassed Backlund. He just surpassed. Sure. He's been doing it for months. And so Hogan, I think the reason that this is getting attention is because Hogan is the biggest star probably in the history of wrestling. And so that's why I think it's getting this attention. And I know some people, they don't want to see that happen because of the controversy surrounding Hogan and the racist remarks. But for me, I don't want to see it happen from a business perspective. Because in order for him to surpass Hogan, he's got to hold the title till the end of September. End of September's gone.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have held the title. Shouldn't have held the title beyond that. No, Bob Backlund's reign is recognized as 2,100 days. Because I mean, there was some cloudiness there. You know how that they did that goofy bullshit back then. But yeah, it's Bruno 2,800, Backlund 2,100, Hogan 1,400. Okay. And Roman has the 6th longest WWE title reign. Of course, with the Universal title, it's a lot different. But like, who gives a shit about got the 3rd longest title reign? And then people will add a qualifier onto it. Well, since they got on cable. Well, since they were the WWE. Who cares, man?
The main thing I care about is that we have a champion on SmackDown every week.
And that the show is good.
I care about.
That the show is good. That's all I care about, man. Like I see this shit and I go, what are y'all talking about?
But see, I think the reason again that people this is a story at all is because WWE again they put it on television, and so I think that's got people concerned that it means something to WWE because otherwise why would they mention it at all?
Yes, I guess maybe I just mute in my brain when they mention Hulk Hogan and any title reign or anything like that. Or
no, but I agree with you. I agree with you. Unless you become number 1, which is not going to happen. I agree with you that it really shouldn't be a story. But for me, the biggest concern I have is I don't want him holding it till the end of September because he's not on the show. Like that's the main thing for me. I want to see him lose it at Mania. He should have lost it probably at Mania last year, but I want to see him lose it at Mania. And that's how I look at it. What are your thoughts on, forget about the title reign.
He should have lost it at Mania last year. 100% should have lost it at Mania last year. And anybody saying that it'd be better long-term for Cody, that's horseshit.
Yes.
People said that last year. You're going to say it again this year? Better long-term? What are you talking about? His big feuds, he feuded with Dominic Mysterio and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes.
What? Roman Reigns did not need the world title to feud with the Usos. He did not need the world title with it virtually anything that he's doing, and he ain't around.
Yes.
The guy's not around. So people will be like, oh yeah, but this imaginary number for this imaginary show, dude ain't there. He is not around.
Yeah.
What's the point of it? To rack up days? Like, this isn't.
Well, that's what because they're doing this.
Yeah.
They're doing it with Logan Paul too. Logan Paul was on
but
SmackDown, and they said, "Oh, he's already held the title for 3 months or whatever."
Well, that's stupid. Yeah, but I mean, this is a little bit more ridiculous.
Yeah,
this is way more ridiculous because it's come on, man. Like,
but here's the question: let's say that WWE decided this is something they want to do. How do you keep Roman hot with the title until the end of September?
I mean, think about this: WrestleMania, when he should have dropped the title to Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
Since then, Jimmy, there have been 2 world title matches on TV.
Right.
2. It was stupid when they did it with Brock years ago. It was very dumb. It compromised the integrity and the quality of their show. Hasn't happened yet with WWE. But, man.
But they do. SmackDown definitely feels lighter in terms of names than Raw does.
Yeah, it does.
And
that's going to change in October. That you better believe that'll change in October.
I'm sure. Yeah. The other thing about Roman that I wanted to ask you about, I believe it was Meltzer that reported that Roman is not scheduled for Elimination Chamber. Have you heard about that? Because if that's true, then obviously Roman Rock's not happening in Australia. Have you heard anything about that?
I asked WWE, they said card subject to change.
Okay.
That was it. James says, wait, if we need Roman to pass all records, he's got to beat Moolah's title run. That's a bigger BS record.
He'd be holding it for 30 more years.
Yeah. Moolah's title reign when it wasn't even a WWE title and she owned it. Oh, we got a bunch of super chats. Let's go ahead and get to them.
By the way, before we get to that, Flair one time said, if you want to be serious with these title reigns, he said, I've had probably something like 40.
Yeah.
Because he would go to friggin' Alabama, drop it, win it back the next night. You know what I mean? They used to do that all the time. So
I would love to see somebody do a feature on that specifically. We got Zach Barber saying, actually, we'll get to that in a minute. Jeff Stone says, F it, keep him until 2040. Let the internet eat itself. Acknowledge your tribal chief. Ridiculous.
Is that an Issa burner account?
Well, we got the real one here.
Oh, isn't that something?
Is here to plug WWC's show Euphoria this Saturday live on Fight. Listen, she's the only person we would allow to run a commercial for $4.99. Says featuring Cardona, Nick Nemeth, Steve Macklin, and more. Plus the best backstage correspondent, me. We adore Issa. She's wonderful. Demon Diva is incredible. Excited to see her next week in Tampa. Very excited. But yeah, check that out. She's done incredible work. I mean, I've known her since my Wrestling Inc. days, and I've watched her break into media and on-screen stuff. It's been really incredible to see.
Awesome.
Jeff Stone says, don't block me, Sean. I'm playing. I wouldn't block you. We appreciate the support. Ryan, Sean, any update on Cody's contract extension? Do you feel like it's a matter of time before his signing is announced? Any Seth update? No Seth update. No real Cody update. But I can tell you, like, listen, I know there were some people that were like, you got proven wrong on that one. Guys, I'll refer you to the only media interview he did in Detroit. I'll refer you to the person who broke the story of him leaving AEW and joining WWE. Even though some people say that for some reason I reported he wasn't going to WWE. Don't know where that came from. I'll refer you to the person who was on the red carpet with him in Atlanta. We've got a pretty good connection to the guy and his team. Whenever that deal is done and signed, I feel like they'll make a big deal out of the announcement. I don't think I'll be the first person to know that one, I think I'll have some subsequent details, though.
You know what? I was one of the guys that said he wasn't going to leave AEW, and so I'm reluctant to say that he's not going to leave WWE, but he's not going to leave WWE.
Van Twinblade says, Jimmy Sean, have you seen Warhorse's new character? The I've been to the top of the mountain and it ain't worth it stuff was great. I have seen some of it, and I think that that's very, very smart of Warhorse, a guy who got over particularly big during the pandemic with a gimmick, quite frankly, and not just relying on that gimmick. Because you know what? You could get your bookings, you could sell your merch, you could do your signings, or you could evolve and have multiple things. And I think that that is a very, very smart thing to do. And based on everything I've heard about Warhorse, I'm not surprised that he was doing that, because oftentimes people that figure out those gimmicks know to switch it up. Cheeseburger was one of those guys. He's like, I could get a lot of bookings. He's like, or I could also work on my physique, work to become a respected trainer, become one of the best technical wrestlers on the planet, and have that to lean on as well. It is a very smart thing to do.
Did you hear what Lexus King said John Cena told him? The advice he gave him?
What was that?
He was talking to CVV, and he said that Cena was at the PC, and what Cena told him was, even if WWE gives you the shittiest character, you know, that you just think is a shitty character, do your best with it. Try to make it the best version of that character. And he said, if you can do that, you're going to get over with the company.
With all the tag teams, when will the belts be split? I don't know. I'm going to start looking into this. I know there's been a lot of reports over the last year that they would do this, and I just haven't heard that at all yet. I just haven't heard it all at all, rather. And do you think they'll split the titles in the near future? Feels like the SmackDown tag teams are treading water. I want them to add trios titles, world trios titles that go across all their brands. They can have tag titles and trios titles, because you've got Judgment Day, you've got Lashley and company, you've got two versions of the LWO right now. You're about to have Karrion Kross and AOP.
Yep.
You've got Chase U down in NXT.
Yep. Did you mention the Pride yet? Did you mention them too?
Sure did.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe I'm an old school guy. I would love it if they would call them the six-man tag team titles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think they won't call them trios titles.
Yeah.
If you get New Day back, you got them. You've got Imperium as well. You've got, I'm just looking at this. You got Indu Share and Jinder.
Yeah, like, that's true too. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, you've got Alpha Academy. There are like 9 trios right now on the main roster that you could go back and forth with. Pretty Deadly. Finding a third would be hilarious. I think that would be very, very funny.
I'd only be cool with it if they don't split the tag titles. So if they keep the tag titles as one, unify it.
Exactly.
Then it's all right.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Vince Doc, will it plummet the stocks? No, not at this point.
Looking forward to it though. I'm looking for it. Now, here's a question for you. So you saw Meltzer's thing, right? So Meltzer said it's in production with Netflix. He was interviewed for it in Los Angeles. He said they've interviewed, I think his words were, all kinds of people for it. And he said they've interviewed Vince as well. What I want to know, Sean, if you can find this out, does Vince McMahon have creative control?
He wouldn't. I don't think he would anymore. If he did, Dave Meltzer would not be getting interviewed for it.
Okay, because if he doesn't, this could be one of the greatest docuseries that Netflix has ever done, because Vince has a hell of a story.
I think it'll be like, if he doesn't, I think it'll be Last Dance level of crazy shit, I think.
Right. I'd love to see it if they do that.
Let's get through these. Van Twinblade says, not sure if you saw the March Glory Pro Show is a 2-night tournament for the Road Warrior Cup. Come do some interviews, Sean. I ain't traveling anymore in March. I got Squared Circle Expo and some other stuff. I saw that Elijah Burke for the Love Alive charity is doing the Shad Gaspard Cup.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I'm very happy to see that. Was there any truth to Tony Khan saying he feared for his life at All In? Any regret on CM Punk's side for how things went down? So I know that it's made light of an awful lot, but I was told pretty distinctly that the reason why that split happened as cleanly as it did was because it was a pretty obvious situation that would have been open and shut. And yeah, AEW might merge the trio's 6-man titles. I think they're headed that way. I fully predict, I think tonight those titles are switching hands. And I think that they're moving towards that. I wish they would. I don't like that they added ROH women's TV title instead of a world women's tag title either. If WWE does trios titles, it should be everyone and show them all on every show. Yes, that's what I'm saying. The tag titles, the women's tag titles, and the trios titles should be cross-branded. It is your golden ticket, Jimmy. Maybe you want Lashley on Raw. That's how you get him. He's the trios champion, and all of a sudden he can appear on both.
I mean, the women's titles, when they first brought them in, that's what they did.
Yes.
They'd be in NXT, they'd be on Raw, they'd be on SmackDown. And so I agree, because there's just not that many teams that have one on every brand.
Is there a reason why WWE signed OC? They don't use them very much. There have been a lot of creative changes, just a ton of creative changes, unfortunately. But I don't know what their creative is right now. I mean, they're just collecting their checks, though. After Rumble, will Punk be full-time weekly on Raw? He should be. Because as of now, he's been around less than half of the Mondays since he debuted, Jimmy.
So the only thing, I don't know what's going through his head. Obviously, I have no line to him, but the only thing I can think of is when he was in AEW and he made a comment. I don't know if it was in the ring or if it was at a scrum. He said, I can do Wednesdays and the occasional Sunday. That's the comment that he made. So this would not be really any different if he's not doing house shows.
I mean,
you know? So I'm with you. I don't know why he can't do every Monday unless that's by design right now. Maybe they don't want to overexpose him.
Nick Nemeth is a better name than Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, I agree. Heard anything about Forbidden Door? Zarian mentioned they're doing something different this year. Mexico with CMLL, New Japan, perhaps. I've heard that they've got the location nailed down, but I don't know what that location is yet.
Do you think they're going to go international? Maybe Japan or Mexico?
I think it's possible. But I don't want to say yes or no. Man, we've got a bunch of super chats. This is great. As someone who loves accent, this show is the best. Well, thank you so much.
I try not to say house or about too often. Thank you.
Yeah. So we got a bunch about Mercedes. If you're AEW, do you make sure to debut Mercedes before the Rumble? KE775 says your Rumble predictions 10 days out. We can kind of tie this in. Do you think AEW or Mercedes is still AEW bound? Do you expect her to be there soon? And do you think she is still AEW bound? Yes. And I don't think that she'll debut before the Rumble. And, this is just me. I think that if I were AEW, what I would do, and this is what I would do, I would let people be disappointed at the Royal Rumble. And then on Wednesday, I would say, by the way, here's a show in which Mercedes will very, very clearly be at. You know what I mean? Like, name it a special thing. And I saw, those weirdo accounts that hate watched 6 full hours of Fightful podcast to clip out just the things. Oh, yes. They watched more Fightful in one day than I did.
Really?
In a year. Yes. And they would take anytime people would ask these questions and any pitches that I would have. But that's one of my pitches. I would announce a big Boston show or like a themed show where you very clearly know after that. And then it's like WWE didn't get her, but AEW did. That's what I would do personally.
You know what? At first I was thinking bring her on Dynamite before the Rumble, but I like your idea better. Hold her off so that fans are watching the Rumble. It reminds me of Daniel Bryan in Philly. Yeah. Hold her off so that people are waiting for her. And then when she's not there, I like it. I think
I would even announce the damn. You can announce the damn show during the Rumble.
Right. Interesting.
Whew. Are you ready for my state's weird weather? My friend, it is 10 here. It is going to be 70 next week. I am very excited for the weird weather. As far as Rumble predictions, I've got Becky and Cody right now. Becky.
For me, it'd be easier on the men's side if I knew the plan for Elimination Chamber, because I believe Punk's been announced for Australia too. So if I knew the plan for Elimination Chamber, it'd be easier. But I will go with Becky, and the other side. It's tough because I don't know the plan with Rock or anything like that. So, but then I don't see Cody, or I don't see them giving Punk the Rumble win when he just come back. So I guess I'll have to go Cody and Becky as well.
Chad says TD Garden's available multiple Wednesdays in March. Yeah, and they don't have their show after Revolution set. They don't have the one after that advertised, there's some March dates that are wide open right there. If they don't do Boston show to debut Mercedes, do you think they might hold it off till Revolution? Could her injury still be playing a part? I ask, what's the benefit from a ticket sales standpoint of doing it at Revolution? To me, you pop a ticket buying number for her appearance and then her in-ring debut. I think you get 2 houses out of that. That's what I would do, Jimmy.
I look at it 2 ways. So obviously they've already sold Revolution because of Sting. They're also going to have a good audience because of Sting. So maybe you debut there because you're going to have eyeballs on it already.
Perhaps.
But I definitely agree that her first match has got to be no surprise, some big advertised thing, ideally in Boston. But if they have her just appear at Revolution because you're going to have eyeballs on it, it's not a bad thing.
Well, if you want some eyeballs on your big hard wiener, here's Bluechew. Hello. Do you have a limp penis? A difficulty getting it erect? Boy, do I have a product for you. Bluechew.com and the code Fightful will help fix that. Bluechew has the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. But they work a lot faster because it's a chewable. It's also much more affordable. Use that promo code Fightful. Get your first shipment free. Just pay $5 shipping. One of the best parts, it's discreet. No awkward in-person doctor's visits. You don't have to go to the pharmacy. It ships straight to your door when approved by an online physician. You want to check this out. It will help you. It is a good product. It will make your sex life better. Bluechew.com and the code Fightful.
I got to tell you the first 5-10 seconds of that with that guitar playing by itself you popped me on that one, Sean.
Well, let me tell you,
Rob Bull,
we're popping a lot of people with Bluechew.com and the code Fightful. We've still got a bunch of super chats that we have to get to. Does the Imperium New Day feud give you hope for Big E? And then we had somebody say, "Hey guys, hope you're doing good. Was there any update on Big E? I know it's unlikely. I'd love it if he returned at the Rumble to a huge pop." That is my dream. Now, I want to make this clear. Outside of what we have seen on screen, there has been nothing to indicate to me that it would happen. In fact, I have only seen things to indicate to me that it wouldn't happen. Big E is going on 2 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
2 years. I miss that guy so much. He's truly one of the nicest, most wonderful, talented guys in wrestling. There were people close to him that referred to him as retired. I don't know if he used that, but they used that. And that's not something that should be aggregated, guys, by the way. So if you're one of those accounts, don't be a fucking weirdo. But it's one of those things that made me go, oh, man, really? And I hope so. Because to me, if you don't get Brock and Gunther, Big E and Gunther is a very, very nice option as well. Imperium versus New Day would be very, very good as well. I would be all for those. But I do think Gunther needs to defend that title at Mania.
I'll never forget your Big O Wankston question.
Oh, it was great. I think that's
his reaction.
I think that endeared me to him. I think that's why we have a good relationship to this day, because he knew that was good. He knew that was good shit right there. He knew it was. And if I could pop a guy like him on the spot, I know it's good. Meet Norma says, hope you're having a happy, meaty hump day. Care more about title defenses than the length of the reign. I don't expect 52 a year, but get to work, pal. Completely agree.
Yeah, I do.
I 100% agree. Now, Rock Hard Joel Wood says, was thinking of the Vince thing lately, and even though I'm uncomfortable, I think if Mania and Raw goes after Vinceless, it'll officially be the end of the Vince era. That I completely agree with. I know there was at least one match that he changed the result of last year at WrestleMania, and then he made a complete mess out of Raw after Mania, Jimmy.
I think it's safe to say it's the end of the Vince era. I think it's safe to say. I mean, you got to remember.
It's ever safe to say.
Well, okay, but so he is still the chairman, but not only does he not have, the voting rights anymore, he sold a shit ton of his stock. So that means that he's not even as powerful of a shareholder as he was. So I think it's pretty safe to say, I think he's a figurehead. And I think Ari Emanuel's whole plan from day one was for him to only to be a figurehead and nothing more. And so that's where they're at.
Squeaky Toy of Terror sends a Humper Chat over at humperchats.com. Says, Sean and Jimmy, what are your favorite Royal Rumbles? Mine was 97 when Austin was eliminated by Hart, re-entered and eliminated Brett. The look on Austin's face when Brett came out was priceless. One of my favorite matches of all time from San Antonio. Jimmy, what's your favorite?
92.
That's a good one.
So 92 was when Flair went all the way.
Mhm.
I think technically he was number 3, but he
Three.
went all the way. But then the star power, because you got to remember the territories had only just kind of ended a few years before at that time. So they had like the Bulldog and Kerry Von Erich and, Hogan and Flair and all these big names from all the different territories. And so the star power was incredible. And Flair running the gauntlet.
Listen to some of these names. British Bulldog, DiBiase, Ric Flair, the Nasty Boys, Haku, Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana, the Barbarian, Texas Tornado, Repo Man, Barry Darso. He will be in the Hall of Fame at some point, is in there. Greg Valentine. I'm just through 12 of them. It's insane.
Big names. Yeah.
Like it is unreal to look at. Like, even guys that were in there and you look at and you go, like Skinner. Skinner is so influential over wrestling that you see right now.
Yeah, Florida
Steve
for sure.
Kern.
Yeah.
He's in there. Even Virgil's in there. The GOAT, Jimmy.
Was Savage in there? Macho Man? He must have been, right? And Jake the Snake Roberts?
07 is my favorite because Shawn Michaels Undertaker basically had a mini match at the end.
Yes.
Oh, so incredible. Do you think we'll see more NXT entrants in the Men's Rumble or Legends new signing? I think we'll see some NXT integration. Triple H is fine with that. So yeah, I think that we're going to see some more integration of that again. Why are WWE fans trying to start beef with AEW TNA just to put AEW down? That's because I see your chat. It's just there are some people that are perpetually unhappy. And if bitching about wrestling is the worst thing you got to do, your life is doing pretty good. Or you need to have some more interesting shit happen to you.
That's right there with the Deanna stuff. when I saw the Deanna stuff, it's the same thing. These are miserable fucking human beings, Sean. That's what it is.
Any word on Double or Nothing 2024 location or date? Yeah, I think it's going to be in Vegas. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go back to the MGM this year. Wouldn't be surprised.
I think they should get away from Vegas. I understand Double or Nothing.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Was it Mania 39 result? Vince changed Reigns and Cody? No, it wasn't. It was not. New Lac City says, what's the reaction to some of the AEW new administrative hires? What was the feeling during the whole gender hook stuff? So we're going to talk about a lot of these hires now. It says the gender match stunk outside of maybe one near fall got me. He needs to get his reps back. Not fair to gender. It wasn't fair to gender. None of it was. And they put him in a position that he, I'm sure was appreciative of, but get the guy some wins. The AEW administrative hires, the COO, a welcome hire. Over on the WWE side, Zach Barber says, does WWE have to fire the new head of production since he's been publicly exposed as a fraudster?
I don't know anything about that.
Yes. So that's what Zach Barber said, as an Emmy scamming fraudster, because he was heading up a lot of stuff at ESPN, and now he is on the banned list for Emmys. He cannot win an Emmy.
Really?
Because they used fake names to get some top names at ESPN, some Emmys. Yeah.
You mean fake names as opponents? Like as other
Just
nominees?
fake names in general. I'd have to send you.
Okay.
I have to send
That's
you
the first I've heard of that
article.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Lee Fitting is his name.
Okay. Yeah, I know the name.
He moved away from ESPN. I think he was there for 25 years and got brought on by WWE. They announced him on January 9th, and then shortly after it was revealed he can't win Emmys now.
Wow, I never heard about that. So is it true that he is one of several that they're thinking to replace Dunn because they think Dunn did so much that it takes more than one guy to replace?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's heading it up, but yes, largely. There's no one person that will probably ever be able to do what Kevin Dunn did.
So is he controlling the truck right now? Lee?
I don't know if he is right now. I'll
Okay.
find out if he is, though.
Okay.
I'll find out if he is. Any update on missing stars? Dexter, he's fine. Odyssey, he's been doing some live event matches. Omos, they have him do live event matches here and there. Nikki, she's at the shows. She travels to the shows. I don't know why they don't use her. Sometimes she'll just be in the background. She'll just be standing. But
Omos is a wasted opportunity.
I guess he's not that great.
No, but I think that given his size and his background, if he was a babyface, like kind of like this generation's Andre the Giant, sort of, I think there's stuff you can do with him. I think he'd be great with the media if they sent this guy out to do media because of his size and because
he's great with media.
Yeah,
I love doing media with Omos. One, it's a wonderful visual.
Right.
Like, I'm not a small guy, and then you put me next to Omos, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. But you get somebody like Denise next to Omos. Oh boy, do you really sell it.
The only one
really
that I've
great.
seen was, who's that guy on Bravo? Andy Cohen?
How the hell should I know?
Well, he's pretty well known, but anyway, he has a talk show and Omos was on his show.
Okay.
And he gets attention because of his size, but he's a likable, personable, friendly guy. I think that he could be this generation's Andre the Giant. They're not
Only
utilizing
thing I
him
know
right.
about Andy Cohen is he got scammed out of a lot of money.
I heard about that. Thought he'd be smarter than that. Yeah.
Can you see NXT call-ups before Mania or just post-Mania? That Battle Royal last night had 10 women that needed a call-up. I was happy to see Maddie Rinkowski debut as well. That's a person that I was touting a couple years ago, and I was like, man, NXT, especially 2.0, really could have used her. I don't know why Nikita and Tiffany missed NXT. I know that they put several skits in the can for Tiffany, so they're doing that right now. But I do think like it's possible that we see an NXT call up before WrestleMania. But I haven't heard of any imminently. I haven't heard of any on the horizon. And again, just because I don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not happening. But I think it's possible. I think we're going to see them peppered throughout the year. I
mean, Carmelo came up. Tyler just came up.
Yeah.
So they can do it. What's the story with Cora? Sad situation.
Tore ACL, very, very. That's very unfortunate. I mean,
just came back a month ago.
Yeah, you can't predict it. You can't prepare for it. Nothing you can do about it. It's very, very unfortunate.
Too bad.
Guys, we are going to head over to The List Goes On in a few minutes. We're going to be talking about Andrade and some of the wild stuff that happened surrounding his AEW departure. But we still have a few super chats to get to. You think Sammy and Mercedes have a talk backstage? Yeah, of course they will. I mean, Sammy contacted her to apologize for those comments. So this, like, they're not like not acquainted. Your opinion, percentage Vince ever gets creative back? I'm going to say 10% because anything's possible.
5.
There you go. Alex says, just for back from seeing my Lions win, it was 9 degrees at the high. So happy to be back in Cali. We're at 60. Enjoy that Florida weather. Alex, if you were in Detroit, you were inside a dome. I don't want to hear it, Alex.
Did you see what they did in the Bills game, Sean?
Yeah, I did.
They said basically pick a seat. You just have to shovel your way in, but pick a seat.
Jesus Christ. That is it's ridiculous. Will says, what do you think about how the NXT fans love Obafemi? That guy's a star. He is very clearly a star. Interesting note. Everybody thought he was 22. His mom noted on his Instagram he's actually 25. Which, hey, better to know it now than like years later when Ahmed Johnson was like, yeah, everybody thought I was 25 when I was in the WWF, but I was like 30 when that happened.
Remember the Boogeyman? Boogeyman had something like that.
But he lied straight up on Tough Enough, and they found it out.
Yes.
And it worked out for him. Can the C2 be the equivalent of the Rumble for next year and have a title shot at Revolution? Man, I think that doing a title shot for 2.5, 3 months later is something that you got to commit to, obviously. I liked it when the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania did it. I didn't like it as much when it was World War III all the way to Super Brawl or something like that. But I think you can probably make it work.
Biggest thing with the C2 and the reason people like the Rumble is the Rumble, you have the winner immediately as opposed to waiting weeks.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes a difference. But at the same time, if I'm being honest, I hated that the C2 resulted in another belt that they're now apparently defending. I'd rather a world title shot, but it's hard to match the Rumble in terms of getting that instant gratification.
We got Peter saying, just saw Will Ospreay in a relatively recent GCW match on YouTube. Why is Ospreay still taking these gigs? The ring was the size of a phone booth with peeps hanging on the apron. My friend, if you think that he accepted bookings like in that amount of time, like if you think that after the AEW deal, he was like, you know what? I'm going to start taking GCW bookings. No, it wasn't relatively recent. It was like a year and a half ago. It was in Providence, Rhode Island. And I mean, it's because he had to make money. It was his living to take bookings like that. They pay him a lot of money. But I mean, since the AEW deal, he isn't actively being like, hey, let me come work these really small shows. You can't book it. You got to book this guy out like way ahead of time.
And what you have to remember is that when a promoter reaches out to them, they name their price. So it's not like he's doing it for a hot dog. You know what I mean? So if the promoter's going to pay him his price, well, then there you go. He doesn't give a shit how many people are there.
Yeah. Mr. Andrew says Monday night was a great first step in the Mania feud between Cody and Drew, while Rock and Roman main event. They can open the show, I guess. No, that is not.
It's a Rumble tease.
I love Drew. Drew's great, but no.
It's a Rumble tease. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a Rumble story.
Yes.
Evan says Cody wrestles Roman at Chamber. Not yet. It says no. This isn't. This is not it to me. Like I get Rock and Roman is the big match. But like, I don't think you compromise your entire show for any extended period of time for that. Cody is the story. I don't know, man. I don't know. Punk Seth at Mania with a Priest cash in mid-match. Now, why are we adding all these ingredients? Jay evens the odds for Cody to win? No, I don't want Rock and Jay. I want Cody to win clean as a sheet, clean as a whistle, clean.
But the thing is, in a Roman match, that's not possible. Like
it is possible.
How?
The winner needs to beat Roman Reigns clean as a sheet.
No, you're right. But what I mean is Roman always has all this interference. So are you saying Cody be Superman and by himself take out everybody?
He can be Superman. If The Rock wants to prevent somebody from running in, that's fine. But I don't want anybody else in that damn ring. Nobody else but those two. Had the same problem with the C2 as I have with Chamber. Why participate in the C2 when you can just challenge the winner of the title? Could be a point of pride. That's what Eddie Kingston established, was that it was very, very important to him.
It was also positioned differently when they created it. It was positioned as like a showcase, a sports showcase kind of.
Yeah.
So it was different. It was different. The title shot wasn't the focus supposed to be of a lot of those wrestlers.
We're wrapping up, guys. We got a few more super chats. Peter says, my bad. Clip said 5 days ago. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, use that cage match, my friend. Now, we got a couple of interesting Fightful related questions. Patrick says, where do you hope Fightful is in 5 years? And BL says, question for Jimmy, knowing this was the first turning of a profit for Fightful, was there ever thought of pulling the plug? That one's more of a you question, but I mean, we can both answer the 5-year thing, but yeah, let's start with that one. As fortunately, we are not in that position anymore.
Yep. No, we've talked about this. There were many times when you hit me up and you said, do I need to look for a job? And I told you, no,
the first 6 months, especially before I was on camera with Jimmy, and sorry to interrupt, but I'll explain why. Because when I got hired at What Culture, I told them very, very clearly, I'm like, listen, guys, you understand this is slow and steady, right? You're not immediately going to make your money back on me. And they said, yeah. And then Matt Holmes cut me and a bunch of other people because he didn't see immediate results. Jimmy understood that better than anybody I've ever worked with.
So I knew my vision. My vision was for us I really wanted to lean into the podcasts and I wanted to break news. And at the time in 2016, there was nobody doing both. If you think about it, right? The guys that broke the news didn't do podcasts. The guys that did
video podcasts. Yeah.
Video podcasts. Yeah. And the guys that did video podcasts didn't really break news. That was my vision and I believed in it. And so, no, I never once thought about pulling the plug on Fightful. Not once.
I would say after about basically once I got on camera with Jimmy and we had our first like face-to-face conversations, that's when I was like, this is the guy and this is the guy I want to work with for good. I've had some offers and stuff and never really entertained them. I've leveraged them, but never entertained
Oh yeah, you sure
them.
have.
I've certainly leveraged them, but I've never seriously entertained going anywhere else because he constantly reaffirmed to me that I made the right decision leaving Wrestling Inc., passing up going back to Wrestling Inc., passing up going to another place, passing up at the time what was life-changing money, because now I've got a different life-changing situation. And I can tell you that at no point had I taken any of the offers from Wrestling Inc. or one of the other very, very nice offers I had, they would have never allowed me to keep my team, keep them the way that I wanted them, renegotiate deals, and have the freedom that I have here. Like, they just would have never happened like that. So, I mean, I'm constantly reassured that I made the right decision there. As far as where we are in 5 years, what do you think about that one, Jimmy?
I mean, there's things we've talked about doing that we just never done.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of maybe spinning off other things. We've talked about the app. There's things we've talked about we haven't done, and maybe we'll follow some of that through. But I got other stuff I'm working on, and you're a busy guy, so we'll have to cross that bridge.
So, I mean, I've got contingency plans for everything. It's like, it used to be, what if the sources dry up? Well, now there are so many sources that it just will never be completely dry of information. It will never happen like that. But we've got ways that we can pivot. We've got the ability to produce different video content. That's why I cast such a wide net. Live shows, news shows, review shows. I want us to try a little bit of everything. That way, if there are lulls or peaks in certain types of content, we can lean into those as well. Within 5 years, I do want to have like Fightful Select Espanol. I do want to have an app.
Talk about that, yep.
Yeah. Like to have a Discord if that's even still a thing. But also I need to familiarize myself with those. But those are three things in the the app is probably a while off, but there are ways that are things that I would like to do there as well. But guys, we are headed over to FightfulSelect.com. We appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, we're out.